Who's the worst person one of your parents has ever dated? My parents divorced when I was in high school because my mom wasn't happy. She wanted more excitement and spontaneity, and my dad wasn't that kind of person. They tried for a while, but in the end, it wasn't enough. I stayed close to both of them, but I always felt like I was watching my mom go through some kind of midlife crisis. She started dating almost immediately. She never brought the guys home but was always out with someone new. Every week, there was a different name and story about a great date she had been on. It was exhausting. I never said anything because she seemed happy, but I hated it. It felt like she was chasing something she would never find. By the time I was in college, things seemed to settle down. One day, she told me she had been seeing someone for a while and wanted me to meet him. This was different from all the others. She seemed excited. For once, she wasn't treating it like just another fling. I wanted to be happy for her, so I agreed. We cooked dinner, set the table, and made everything perfect that night. She seemed nervous in a way I hadn't seen before, which made me believe this was serious. When the doorbell rang, she practically ran to answer it. I stayed back, finishing up in the kitchen, until I heard her voice introducing him. "This is Josh." I turned around and felt my stomach drop. I knew him. Josh wasn't just some random guy. He was in my classes. We had worked on a project together last semester. I had sat next to him for weeks, and now he was standing in my living room, smiling like this wasn't completely insane. I just stood there, staring. My mom laughed awkwardly. "Are you going to say hello?" I grabbed her arm and dragged her into the kitchen before she could say another word. "Are you serious?" I whispered. "He is my age. He could be your son." She sighed and looked at me like I was overreacting. I didn't know how old he was at first. We met at the gym, and we just connected. I haven't felt like this in years. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was acting like this was some great love story, like it wasn't completely disgusting. She begged me not to ruin the night. She said she really wanted me to give him a chance. I felt sick, but I sat through dinner anyway. The entire time, I wanted to crawl out of my skin. Josh was way too comfortable, touching my mom's arm, laughing too loudly, and making weird little inside jokes with her. It was nauseating. I barely touched my food. Halfway through, I made an excuse and left. I went straight to my dad's house and told him everything. At first, he brushed it off, saying my mom was allowed to date whoever she wanted. Then I told him Josh was my age. He froze. His face fell. He poured himself a drink and sat in silence for a long time. "Well," he finally said, "I guess there's nothing we can do. But it's wrong." The next morning, when I got home, Josh was still there. I locked myself in my room and refused to come out. Every time I was alone with my mom, I told her how much I disapproved, how disgusting it was. She just kept saying I needed to be happy for her, that she deserved to be happy. Then things got worse. Josh started acting weird around me. He would make comments that weren't outright inappropriate, but they made my skin crawl. He would wink at me in class. One time, he brushed against my back while reaching for something. I told my mom, but she rolled her eyes. She said he was just trying to be nice and get closer to me. Then one day, at school, he took it too far. We were walking out of class when he leaned in way too close and said, "You know, it's always been my fantasy to be with a mom and her daughter." I slapped him so hard my hand stung. Then I ran. When I got home, I told my mom everything, hoping she would finally listen. She didn't believe me. She accused me of making it up, saying I was jealous and trying to ruin her happiness. That was it. I packed my bags and left. When I told my dad what happened, he was furious. He called my mom and told her off. He said she had been a terrible wife and was now being a terrible mother. He told her that I was staying with him, and he would do everything in his power to make sure I was safe. That was the last time I saw Joshua. Months later, my mom called me. She was crying. She said Josh had left her for another girl. She begged me to come back because she was lonely, but she never apologized. She never admitted she was wrong. I told her off and hung up. I haven't spoken to her since.